2009, and I'm sitting in a conference room, a multinational manufacturer not far from here. I'm talking with the CEO and the vice president for whom I work, and we're talking about opportunities at the base of the pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid is a term that was first characterized by the late, great C.K. Prahalad, who was a professor of business at the Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan. He and one of his more brilliant colleagues termed that to describe a phenomenon that I think is important for all of us to understand. And that is, the poor of this world have money. Well, I'm not going to be able to... There. That's what C.K. Prahalad had termed the fortune at the bottom of the pyramid. And what he was trying to describe there was that of the 7 billion people living in the world today, about 4 billion of them live on less than $3 a day in terms of purchasing power parity. Now that doesn't sound like a lot individually, but collectively it's a lot of money. It's about $5 trillion, as estimated by the World Resources Institute. And it was Prahalad's contention that business ought to be interested in such a market. And that's where he framed the base of the pyramid, the bottom of the pyramid. And what Prahalad knew from both personal and professional experiences is that business, more than any other kind of approach, could actually permanently move people from poverty into the middle class. And his vision was that the pyramid of this world would become a diamond. Now, the bottom of the pyramid has a little bit of an unsavory tone to it, and he got a little bit of pushback on it because it sounds like the bottom of the barrel, and that is not at all what Prahalad had meant. So in subsequent writings, his co-author, Dr. Stuart Hart, wrote about the base of the pyramid and characterized that as an opportunity for business in truly sustainable development in Capitalism at the Crossroads. If you haven't read that book, read this book. It's probably one of the best business books that I've ever read in terms of sustainable development. Dr. Stuart Hart outlined opportunities for sustainable development and laid it out clearly for businesses to understand. Back in the room, that conference room, not far from here, we had read this book. We understood that there were opportunities in fast-growing, large markets at the base of the pyramid. But they were big, and they were hazy, and they were very far in the future. We had no employees, we had no customers, we had no suppliers. And for what us was, in every sense of the word, a very foreign market. I've often wondered, I mused out loud, what would happen if we took employees and placed them in opportunities to serve in these underserved communities? That way we could gain a first-hand experience and understand the true needs of people in their home communities. Our CEO whirled in her chair, pointed her finger at me and said, "I want that." Which is a cautionary tale for all of you not to brainstorm in front of your boss's boss, because they might say exactly that. But in that moment, an opportunity for immersion service learning was born. And that kind of program that would give us the insight into the base of the pyramid. What do those programs actually look like? Well, there are a lot of without border types of immersion service learning organizations now, and lots of different kinds of programs, but they all basically are the same type of thing. They are individuals or groups of individuals who participate in organizations in underserved communities. They actually join those organizations for set periods of time, bringing their skills and experiences to bear inside of those organizations. The organizations have now been infused with incredible human capital, which they would otherwise not have available to them, either economically or even physically. The people who participate in such programs often refer to them as transformative. And finally, the sending organizations also benefit hugely. They gain insight into those markets. They gain even more fully developed employees, and they gain reputations of authentic corporate social responsibility. That is a triple win. But it turns out that the attitude you bring is as important as the expertise. In the moment after I had committed our company to send 10 employees in 2010 to India into 3 rural social enterprises, I had a moment of panic, of buyer's remorse. What if nobody signed up? What if the wrong people signed up? What if the right people signed up, but they couldn't do the work? Deirdre White, who's now the CEO of Pixera Global, allayed my fears. Don't worry, Laura, she said, you are going to send people who are well-educated and well-intentioned. Just don't send me anybody who's inflexible, can't laugh at themselves, or think they already have all the answers. Well, that turns out to be a pretty good basis for some principles for purposeful global engagement. Purposeful global engagement. That's a term to replace international development. International development has historically been applied to programs that distribute very well-intentioned and international aid solutions, but they are often rife with many, many problems. I'm not going to get into discussing today the myriad of issues that surround those types of experiences, but suffice it to say that development is something that you do to someone, and engagement is something that you do with someone. Guess which approach works better? So, thousands of people have now participated in this type of immersion, service learning opportunities, and there are principles of purposeful global engagement now coalescing around their experiences. What I'd like to do today is share with you a couple of my favorites. I have a feeling that there are a lot of people in the audience today who have had similar types of immersion service learning. Perhaps you'll recognize these, perhaps you'll have some of your own. The first one is to be there, go local. Even in this day and age of ubiquitous technology that can connect us, it seems, at any time with anybody, there is no substitute for being face-to-face with someone, working on something to develop great empathy, insight, and deep relationships. But you have to go with an open mind, and you have to go with a sense of curiosity. The second is to seek partnership, but make it mutual. There is no one individual, there is no one organization, there's not even one sector that can solve the world's problems alone. You have to be an ally, and you have to seek allies. But when you think of the word ally, think about coming alongside. Do not fall into the false hierarchy of helper and beneficiary, or expert and uneducated. Everyone has something to learn, everyone has something to contribute. Third, bring value. You have to bring something to the party, even if you're young and inexperienced. It's education, enthusiasm, energy, resources, influence, expertise, education, but not answers. You can't bring answers until you understand the question. And you cannot do this without understanding the situation in which you're in, and please don't try and solve problems that people don't think that they have. Fourthly, view the system. In any organization or any community that you enter, there will be at play a complex social, economic, and environmental network and system at play. There is no such thing as a simple intervention. This is not if-then analysis. It's a lot more like multivariable calculus than it is simple arithmetic. And finally, expect the unexpected, which, by the way, is no license not to prepare or plan. You have to prepare and plan, and you have to expect that in the first day you start to execute your plan, that something will change, that you will learn and you will adjust, and you have allowed yourself the space and breadth in order to do that. Just can't afford to be surprised by the surprises. So those are a few of my favorites that I wanted to share with you today. Like I said, I imagine that there are quite a few people in this audience who can contribute to that those principles of purposeful global engagement. And I invite you to do that on Borderless, a global community. Because the better able we are as a global community to develop these sets of principles and to distribute and educate other people about them, the better able we are as global citizens to develop a society that is truly sustainable. One that starts with deep understanding and respect and ends with inclusive, mutual, shared value approaches to servicing all the people of this world as just everyday business. And that's a jewel of a world in which to live. Thank you.